Hi, this is Ferris from Coin Compass. Now this video is about setting up a password manager. I'm introducing it because Gordon has put a lot of work into figuring out what the most secure and convenient way of managing your passwords is. I've known Gordon for over 20 years, and being the consummate professional that he is, he went through a lot of effort and detail to explain not just how to use a cloud-based password manager, but also why it's the best option out there. So Gordon's initial video for this topic was 40 minutes long. Now, most of us, when it comes to computers, just want to know what to do and not necessarily the why. So we've provided you with both options. We've condensed the original video to about 20 minutes for those of you that just want to know how to install and use Lastpass, what we believe is the best solution for password management that we both use ourselves. But if you want to know more about why we're recommending Lastpass and how Gordon came to this conclusion, and more about password security and practice in detail, you'll find all of this in the bonus videos along the way. We recommend you watch the video straight through first, and then you can explore the bonus videos second time around. So in summarizing the content of the bonus video, what is a good password? A strong and secure password must be truly random, have maximum entropy, that's a combination of letters, numbers, and symbols, be long, bare minimum 12 characters, be unique, and be easy to remember. The latter point is where humans in general fail in proper password management. We have to remember these passwords, so we develop really bad habits to do so. We write them down somewhere near our computer, we create a spreadsheet that has all our passwords written down, and think we're being smart by securing that spreadsheet with a password. Or we just end up using passwords that are a combination of birthdays, area codes, and names. All these methods can be socially engineered by hackers. This is where a password manager like Lastpass solves these problems. Lastpass will create a new, very secure password for every website that needs one. You couldn't possibly remember all of these different, long, complicated passwords yourself. Think of Facebook, Amazon, iTunes, just to name a few. So Lastpass works like a vault in that it remembers them for you. And how do you open that vault? You use a really strong secure password with all the requirements we mentioned before as the key to open the vault. Now I'll hand it back to Gordon, who's going to show you how to set up and use Lastpass.
What is a password manager? Why should I use one? Hopefully you know the answer to the second question by now. It's really a database that upon logging in with your super secure long master password that needs to be rememberable, you then access all your other random, long, unique, maximum entropy passwords that you've already generated. A modern password manager is actually a lot more than that nowadays. Not only can it store and manage your passwords, it can generate new passwords, you can create secure notes, you can upload files as well, you can share particular portions or websites with family and friends, and so much more that we'll have a look at one of the leading password managers in the demo. So let's get to it. Okay, we're back in Ubuntu land. So I'm going to assume that you've logged in, you've installed any operating system updates if they're available, and you're running Firefox. I've gone ahead and logged into mail.google.com with the email address we created in our last tutorial. So please go ahead and do that because we'll need it anyway. And we've still got our ad blocker and VPN still connected here. So all good to go. The process of installing a password manager add-on is exactly the same. So just go to add-ons, go to get add-ons, find more add-ons. Now we're going to install a password manager called Lastpass, and it is the most popular password manager. And again, I'm not endorsed by them, I'm not receiving any commission, but it's something that I've used pretty much every day for the last 4 or 5 years. And even though it's not an official endorsement, I can highly recommend it. In the description of the video, I'll send a link to a couple of reviews of other password managers. So most of them are free and have a free trial. So feel free to check them all out. But in this demo, we're installing Lastpass. double check that what we're installing is what we're installing. almost, well, 750,000 users. Add to Firefox. Add. And then away you go. Now, some people online, and one of my friends actually complained that when they clicked on this Lastpass icon, this box didn't actually show up. So if that's happening to you, and it seems to be a problem just with Firefox, go to Help, and then click on Restart with add-ons disabled. And what that will do is then prompt you to refresh Firefox, and that solves the problem. Okay, so we've got our Lastpass up here. For the very first time only, right-click and select Lastpass. We don't have an account, so we can't log in. Create an account. Put in the email address that we created in our last tutorial. Click Create Account. So now we come to the most important step, creating your master password. And it really is good marketing because it is the last password you ever need. I don't know what my Facebook password is or my Gmail password is for my accounts because they're long, random, high entropy passwords that I just don't need to remember, and LastPass handles it. So I guess my only suggestion is that if you have to write your master password down, then that's probably not an appropriate password. And secondly, don't worry too much if you can only think of a 12-character password that's fairly simple at this stage. Because what I found is that I built upon my password day after day. So let's take our monkey example again, which I know is pretty bad, but we're going to stick with it. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so that's exactly 12 characters. Now, that is not super strong, super secure, but for day one of your master password, that's pretty good. So use that a couple of times, get used to it. And then maybe on day 2, build upon it. So you might have 19. We might have exactly the same. And think of your password as more like a passphrase. So it's usually a combination of several passwords or pins or lyrics to a song or whatever it is, but break it up. So for example, you might like basketball and you like the Chicago Bulls. Well, instead of putting Bulls on the end, I don't know, we might want to put Bulls in here. You get the idea. I'm not going to really show you how to do it because then you'll copy my patterns and that's not a good thing. Come up with your own solution. But build on it day by day, and you might find after a week or after a couple of weeks that actually you've got a pretty long, memorable, secure passphrase that you use day in, day out, and that's the only passphrase you ever need for the rest of your life. So we've got our password, and it's not super secure, but for day one it's pretty good because remember we're going to add to it. And as I put it in, it reminded me that I need an uppercase letter, so we can have the K as our uppercase. So put in your master password, confirm it. Now you can put a hint in if you want. I think that kind of defeats the purpose. It's kind of like Windows that asks you for a login hint. Up to you. If you put a random hint, it probably won't help you too much anyway because you've got combinations of letters, numbers, and passphrases anyway. So anyway, up to you. So once you've created your LastPass account, you should have an email from LastPass detailing some further instructions and information. You will notice that the LastPass icon is now red, which means that you're logged into LastPass. And I would go to the help section and have a look at some of the tutorials. They're actually pretty short, but there are so many features and functionality of LastPass that it can be a little bit overwhelming. So you might want to have a go through some of these, especially the LastPass Vault. However, I'll go through some of the major features of LastPass and in particular why we're using it. Log in as normal to your email account that you've already created. And as you can see, LastPass is now saying, hey, it looks like you've logged into something. Do you want me to remember this password? Of course we do. So we click on add. And because we're logged into LastPass, it's going to save it to our LastPass vault. So we can find it down there, but let's open the LastPass vault. And again, feel free to do the tutorials. They're excellent. So we've got one item saved. Let's have a look at it. So Google likes these ridiculously long, complicated URLs. We've got the name of it, google.com. It's put in a folder, go to password, username, blah, blah. Now, what you might have to do sometimes is just change the URL to be the actual domain, just the basic domain. So regardless of the URL, you could put google.com, or if it's facebook.com or Amazon or whatever it is. Okay, click save. Now that's really only half of it. What LastPass has done is saved a password and username that we already know, but it's not long, high entropy, or random. So what we're going to do now is go to our accounts, and of course every site's going to be different. So whether it's your Facebook or your crypto exchange or whatever, you're going to find out the place to change your password. And Firefox is prompting me to save the password, which you definitely don't want to do, so we should turn it off. Now, one interesting thing is when you're logged into LastPass, what we want to do now is generate a new password. And LastPass is smart enough to realize that it looks like we are creating a new password. So it's got this little icon here. Now, click on that. We can select generate a field, but let's go to more options. So by default, it's prompting us for a 12-character password. Now feel free to make that longer if you want. Doesn't really matter. You can make it 100 if you want. Stick on 12 for now. Uppercase, lowercase numbers, but let's add special characters as well. If you really want, we can recycle a few of these. Okay, so when we click on fill, what that will do is hopefully fill both the password fields and click on change password. So we've generated a long, secure, high entropy password for Google. We've changed it. And now LastPass is smart enough to say, hey, we've already got a username and password for this account. Do you want to update it? Because it looks like you've changed the password. Of course we do. So now if we go back into our LastPass vault, you can open the vault, or you can go down here, click on edit, because it's the only one. It's got our domain, username, password, and then it's got our randomly generated password that we just made. So that's it. It is not anything super special or incredibly looking. It basically remembers passwords that we can't remember. So it means you can create a unique password for every single site, and all you need to know is your master password. So our recommendation is to use an online or cloud service that we can connect to from any device, from anywhere. Encrypted, so it means it has strong security, which LastPass has. It's been audited several times. Trustless password manager. And for me, the most important point is trustless. If LastPass can recover my password, then that means that I'm trusting them to keep their website and their service secure. I don't want that. Well, if you think about it, LastPass and other password managers are a huge, juicy target attackers. So I don't want to store my password in their database. in the extremely unlikely event that LastPass gets hacked and a hacker gets all the information. Now, obviously, what that means is if they're not storing my password, there's no way to recover it. And that's what I want. I want the responsibility of maintaining and remembering my password. I use LastPass password every single day, so there's absolutely no way that I'm going to forget it. So going back to LastPass, you may notice that even if you close your web browser, LastPass is actually still logged in, and that's not what I want. I don't want that for two reasons. Number one, I travel a lot, so the likelihood of my device getting stolen and someone potentially logging in to LastPass is a lot higher than if I was at home with a desktop. And number two, most importantly, I want to actually type in my password every time I log into LastPass. If I don't do that and simply have my password saved and logged in automatically, then I'll basically forget my master password within probably a couple of days, if not a week. So that's a choice that you have to make, but I strongly recommend turning that feature off. So let's have a look at some of the preferences. Click on LastPass, go to Preferences, and I'm not going to go through all the preferences. You can go through them yourselves, but there's two main preferences that should be in flashing red text. So firstly, I want to log out every single time I close my web browser. So if I close my web browser, it will log out automatically. I also want to set a timeout because maybe I'm away from my computer, even if my screen is locked. I'm going to put a timer and set 20 minutes. That seems reasonable. You can go through all these other settings. I'm not going to go through them. They're not super important, but there is, and you can change the icon. For example, I like this icon, but there is one setting that actually LastPass should prompt you, and it should be part of the setup. And that is save a disabled one-time password locally for account recovery. So by default, this is checked, and I'm going to uncheck it. Again, this is up to you. It's up to your risk tolerance, but I do not want LastPass to be saving my master password in any way, shape, or form, or have my device stolen and a hacker potentially able to recover my LastPass account. I use LastPass with pretty much anything. So that is a choice that you're going to make. I recommend not saving it, but of course that means if you lose your master password or you forget it, then it's pretty much game over. So I'm going to save that, and now that means that every single time I close my browser, start it again, I'm going to have to log in. Now, if you're using LastPass every day, there's absolutely no way that you're going to forget your master password. If you're not going to use it on a regular basis, then it's probably more than likely that you will forget your master password. And there are other ways around that as well. There's a feature called emergency access that I mentioned before that can, if something happens to you, get hit by a bus or you lose your password or something like that, someone can actually gain access to your LastPass account, a person that you've previously specified that you've trusted, and they can get access to your LastPass account even without knowing your password. So it's a kind of nice feature. So if you've made it this far, congratulations. You now have a secure computer running a secure connection using a unique dedicated email address, and you're generating long, unique, random, high entropy passwords with a password manager. All the resources and links from this video will be in the description below, including this article here by GCF Global, who are an open source educational platform. And they've got an excellent article on password best practices. So you can have a look at that. There's a couple of videos and tutorials to go through. And they also have plenty of other topics. So if you're interested in learning Linux or other applications, you might want to have a look at gcfglobal.org. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.
Thanks for watching. All resources mentioned are in the description of this video. With your Bitcoin Basics video guides purchase, you also gain access to this video series for 30 days, Coin Corner newsletters for 3 months, 20% off any help desk credits for 3 months, Bitcoin Begins booklet, the full edition, PSAs, these are emergency alerts for 3 months as well. Visit coincompass.com and click on Members to gain access to any of the above and to check out our latest news, events, and updates. Any content provided by CoinCompass is for educational and informational purposes only and is not investment, legal, tax, or any other advice. A qualified professional should be consulted before making any financial decisions. CoinCompass is not a money transmitter nor broker, so it cannot buy Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency assets on your behalf. CoinCompass will at times recommend certain products, services, and technologies, but these are opinions based upon our experience and not endorsements. We take no liability for out-of-date or inaccurate information, software bugs, manufacturing errors, technology misuse, or issues involving third parties.